word in the middle of the lens there, confidence. How many of you kind of have felt like this at some stage in your life, where there's something you should be doing, you should have that confidence, but there are all these other feelings and stuff going on around? Yeah, me too. Last year, 2013, I'm looking to transition over to a new job. I'm working in human resources. Oh my God, I want to do this thing called career services. Are they going to like me? Are they going to want me? I don't have a higher ed background, so I'm feeling all of this here. But a year later, I can stand here and say I'm on the other side and stuff, so that's a great thing. But so identifying and looking at these things. Also, StrengthsQuest people. How many people are familiar with StrengthsQuest? Anybody have empathy? So you're really going to resonate with this, hopefully. You know, to empathize with students, be in their shoes, and kind of come at it from that standpoint. Go next slide for me, please. So we just want to introduce ourselves to you this morning. Again, I am Jeff Austin. I said again, but actually this is my first time introducing myself. So I'm Jeff Austin, Assistant Director of Employer Relations.
I'm Justin Oliver, Employer Relations and Career Services Coordinator, Brockport.
College of Brockport. So our outcomes, what we are wanting you guys to walk away with today, to discover some ways to increase student engagement with employers, alumni, and faculty. Pinpoint some events across your campus that will help students get confidence in their networking ability. And identify some cross-campus partnerships. I mean, we can't really survive without them. So hopefully we're gonna look at some different ways to do that. So in the events that we're gonna talk to you about today, these really were our key stakeholders in working with people. Alumni relations, like, we really, not to say we rely heavily, but we work really, really close together in so many different ways. From the employer relations standpoint to even just from programming. So we work really, really close with them. Golden Eagle Senior Council. So this is a student organization who's responsible for helping to plan senior year experiences for students. And the organization does have a staff component to it. That staff are serving as advisors, which our Justin Oliver happens to be on that committee with the individuals. Our leadership development program that we work with, marketing and communications and student union and activities. So I don't know how it is at your campus, but at College of Brockport, like, collaboration is huge. Everybody wants to collaborate on something. It's like, we want to do this, we want to do that. Okay, we'll do it. How do we fit? We may not even fit in, but it's like, just, hey, can we have your name on the program? That's fine. Because we're looking to increase our presence on campus. We're really going through a rebuild stage right now, and students may not have known exactly who we were. So the more we can be seen, the more visible we are, then the more students will know, hey, we need to come, to your office, which is a great thing. But identify, if you can, departments where alliance or partnership are going to be mutually beneficial for you all. So definitely with the alumni relations. With the Golden Eagle Senior Council, we can promote the information to the students, but it helps to have someone to partner with who can now reiterate what you're saying. They help give us street cred, or as we would say on campus. They can reiterate what it is we're saying, and because they're saying it, students are going to be more likely to come out and enjoy it. If you have marketing and communications on campus, I don't know how susceptible they may be to working with you, but at least reach out. This has probably been one of the biggest stakeholders that we've developed working on campus, whether it's from our posters for job fair or just helping us to really create a marketing campaign. They have really helped us in doing that. And so as you see some of the posters and the flyers and stuff we did, just gives it a very clean, polished, professional look, something that's 20,000 times better than what I could ever produce. But it really does help in being able to catch the eye of the student, which is what we're wanting to do. So one of the first things that we're going to look at is, in the spring, we had the idea to do a mock career fair. And going back a little bit, we all understand what qualities employers are looking for when it comes to students. They're looking, if you look at those liberal arts skills, problem solving, writing, being able to speak, problem solve, those are some of the core things that employers are wanting. But we also know that students have a difficult time sometimes trying to translate that information. And this is direct feedback that I received from employers. We know that they know it. They just don't know how to go about and talk about it. As someone who works in employer relations, the last thing I want is for an employer after a meeting, interview or something, come back and tell me that, you know, Jeff, we really didn't have a good experience at Brockport this year. We're not going to come back, or we're going to scale back, you know, our visit. That's the last thing I want to hear. So for me, I'm thinking I really need to make sure I can do any and everything to make sure that student is prepared as much as possible before they get in front of this employer. So we came up with the idea to do a mock career fair. And in doing the mock career fair, just again trying to identify, you know, who stakeholders were. So just again, our main emphasis was to try to make sure they were prepared for the career fair. What does it feel like? A lot of them may have never gone into a career fair before, so try to set it up in a way that this is what it's going to be like. These are the tables, these are the tablecloths, this is how people are going to be standing. Come in, get a feel. You may not get over the angst or the ease that you have right now, but at least when you walk into the actual career fair, you will feel like you've been here before, and that will somehow resonate with you and hopefully just kind of calm the breathing down a little bit and you feel a little bit more comfortable to go forward. And again, our partners with this program, we teamed with Alumni Relations and our Golden Eagle Senior Council. So in this particular program, one of the things that was very important is we had to find the right location. It had to be something that was very central, that students were going to have access to, as well as alumni, because we are reaching out to alumni to come back and visit. As we advertised the program, we wanted the alumni to serve kind of as the recruiters. Felt that students will be very comfortable talking with alumni versus an actual employer, because these are individuals that have hopefully been right where they were and they kind of understand. They feel comfortable receiving feedback because they know that you are here to help me to go forward. So hopefully that would resonate with them. So in doing that, we wanted to make sure it was a central location, A, for the student, but also for the alumni. They're coming back, and we want to make it easy for them also so that they'll want to participate more. Had about 10 to 12 tables that were set up. So this platform, our event space, was multi-platform. Top levels where the tables were, an alumni housed each table, and then on the bottom level we had resume tables. Reached out to faculty through the Golden Eagle Senior Council. We were able to get a lecturer who works in the Department of Communications. She came and talked about elevator pitch, the art of interviewing. These skills really resonated well with the students because as she talked, they were taking notes. And then after the talk, they were then able to go around the table and implement some of the things that she discussed. And at the same time, they could get resumes reviewed. So I had about 4 or 5 resume stations there. So again, all in effort, get your resume reviewed, come talk to some people, listen to the speaker speak. But the faculty member, well, first of all, she made sure all her students were aware of it. She sent it out to the Department of Communications, like within her school. So that even overemphasized the advertising that we had. So we were really able to get a really good turnout. So there was that faculty support, and then there's also the Golden Eagle Senior Council. And actually, the lady in the middle of the picture, she's our lecturer that we reached out to. Advertising was just very simple. We used the flyer that we had before, email. Again, that's where most of the students heard about it from, which was very good for us. Budget was only $100. And that $100 just went to, just some food, some, sandwiches, cookies, and water. That was it. Nothing else cost anything. And of course, we had some raffles to get make sure the students want to come there. Gave away some t-shirts, alumni donated some items and stuff. But overall, students really, really walked away with some good experiences. They felt very confident after leaving the event. So that was really what we wanted. The alumni were very happy to participate. Overwhelming response from alumni. We want to do more. How can we get more involved? And we really had to use our base. I mean, we're out 20 minutes outside of Rochester. There's a huge amount of Brockport alumni within the area. But again, those alumni mainly came through LinkedIn. Just put it out there to our main alumni group on LinkedIn, and the responses, just came in after that, and I was very happy about that. Made sure I just kept them in the loop of everything. Made sure I had parking for them, of course, any and everything to make it very simple for the volunteers, but the students got it in return. So that was very, very good. We were excited about it, gonna do it again this upcoming year.
When you were selecting these, volunteers, did you say, okay, I have some people in finance, did you break them down by majors, or did you just open it up to whichever alums wanted to come and they could represent any field?
For this year, we just opened it up, just so that, because it was the first one, and even though we just opened it up, we found that we did get a good mix. It was nonprofit to education to for-profit companies, big and small. So from Verizon to someone from a local nonprofit. So it really did run the gamut, and we were pretty happy about that.
And how many students did you say have ended up attending this?
It was like 45 to 50 students that attended first time.
And how many days prior to the fair, the actual job fair, did you hold this event?
So this was March 27th. Our fair was April 8th. So we tried to hold it, because there were some other events and stuff that were going on. This happened to be the best time that worked, but we wanted to hopefully have it at a time where it gave students time to practice a little bit more, but also if they needed to come by our office and get help with anything. So we wanted to make sure we did that. And what we're gonna do this upcoming year is to also do it in a way where we reach the students that are going to TRD. In our consortium, TRD, Teacher Recruitment Day, didn't think about them, when we were planning this, but I was like, oh my God, they're getting ready to go to TRD. This would apply to them as well. So we're gonna implement that for this upcoming year and hopefully partner with education and have some people there to be able to interact with those students also.
At my previous university, it was a private school, and we did a lot of alumni mock interviews, and we were pretty much kind of required to use our alumni council members, which sounded good, but not all of them were good with doing mock interviews.
Sure.
I mean, sometimes, with the result that a lot of times students have a false sense of confidence.
Sure.
You're a Colgate degree, And now I'm at Morrisville, and although I haven't run this event yet, we have a portfolio day, and I've heard the run through our School of Business, and I've heard the employers give feedback at that, and they, quite honestly, there's some bad feedback going on.
Sure.
Like, use your family members as your references. If they can't say good things about you, who will? And so I'm just wondering, are you kidding? So, I mean, not all, that kind of stuff is like, and then the students look at me like, you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm wondering what you and maybe other people in the room have done to kind of have managed that quality control of those mock interviewers. Because that's
What I did, I was very clear in the LinkedIn messages that I sent. I was looking specifically for alumni who were at like a manager or supervisor level, who had some sort of training and understanding exactly some experience kind of like in behavioral type interviewing, so they kind of knew what to listen for, to really understand if the student was listening to the question and asking the question properly. So I definitely wanted to make sure that that individual, that type of individual was there to ask. And I was very clear with the alumni, please give them candid feedback. Do not sugarcoat anything. Like, be very direct with them. And also let the students know that that's how the people would be communicating with them. And both seem to be just fine with that and setting that.
So I think, I just haven't had some control over some of the pieces
Sure.
of the process, and I want to going forward. But I've gone as much to have like the phone call with the mock interviewers, there's an email and a follow-up, and this is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And that improved, but there was still some of that, so.
And a lot of the alums that participate, their companies actually recruit on campus anyway. So this is just another opportunity for them to be active, to get in front of students. We're always looking for different ways to get, people in front of students instead of just the campus information interviews and stuff, and this is just a way for them to do that. So I'll turn over to Justin to
Switch. All right, so talking about job and internship fair, it's a perfect segue for a new dimension that we incorporated with our job and internship fair this past year, which was a behind-the-scenes fair tour. This 1-hour tour that we developed was really tailored towards freshmen and sophomore students as an opportunity to address a lot of the fears, the anxiety, and concerns that they have about entering a fair. I mean, let's face it, whether you're a freshman or even a senior, a career fair, it could be an intimidating event. So we really saw this behind-the-scenes tour as a way to help them establish a level of comfort in that atmosphere, but also as an opportunity to really get them engaging with employers. How many sports fans do we have in here? Excellent. All right, so I'm going to use an analogy to kind of break down how we implemented this program. We're using football, all right? We're going to go with pregame, then I'm going to go game day. I know kind of the activities and process we use, and then of course postgame. From a planning standpoint, pregame-wise, the way we kind of structured this, after doing some research, kind of talking to some schools that had implemented a tour at their institution to get an idea of best practices, we kind of hit the ground running in terms of going to promote this. We used our channels, as Jeff talked about. We have various stakeholders. We reached out to faculty, first and foremost, to communicate that, hey, we're going to be having this tour as a part of our upcoming job and internship fair. Great opportunity for your freshman students, for your sophomore students. Because a lot of our faculty end up being the first-year instructors for a lot of those APS or first-year classes. So they were really going to be able to help kind of trickle down that message. We also reached out to our first-year and second-year experience program as well, indicating that, would you be willing to kind of help us promote this opportunity to your students? And not knowing the response that we were going to get and how many students, we kind of capped our number of participants at 10. And within 2 weeks, we already not only met capacity, we had a waiting list of students signed up for our behind-the-scenes tour, which was great. Not to mention, we also had the incentive, as you can see, all the students have t-shirts. If they signed up, they got a free t-shirt. Free t-shirt, free food, it's like magic on our campus, really get students out in droves. So that was kind of part of the planning process. I also reached out to specific employers, asking them, hey, we're going to be having a tour. Would you be willing to talk to students, if we visit your table? And so I was able to recruit 3 different employers who would talk about specific things. One, which was our first stop, I'll talk about a little bit later, was to talk about how to make a good first impression. So that was one of the topics. The second topic was the importance of follow-up. And then the third was social media and the role that it kind of plays in the job and internship search process. So let's move on to game day, right? So before we took the students in for the tour, I met with them in a classroom to kind of have like a little overview of what to expect with the job fair, the purpose of a job fair, and I really stressed to them the importance of really using your senses and being a human sponge. Take in everything, the sights, the sounds, the interactions you're seeing other students are having, the way students are dressed, the conversations that are taking place. And I also encourage them to make sure that they're asking questions along the tour. We have a 4-hour tour, so instead of starting the tour at noon when our fair kicks off, because when the floodgates open, it can be quite hectic, we decided to hold it about an hour into our career fair. Because it's still pretty active, things kind of tail off towards the end, so it's still pretty active and the students would really get a good experience. So walking them around to the different tables, we started off at Kyle from Fastenal, who talked to students about the importance of making a good first impression. And it was great because really interactive is Kyle also shared with the students the importance of a good firm handshake. So all the students were able to practice their handshake, and as we went to different employer tables, I was like, hey, do you guys want to show them what you learned? And then they would practice with all the employers the art of handshake. Then we visited the National Kidney Foundation. Jessica, who's an alum of Brockport, she talked to students about the importance of follow-up, and she shared a really good story with the students about how during the interview process, she had a student who maybe wasn't the strongest interview candidate, but he was the only one that sent a follow-up note, and she ended up hiring him, and he ended up being a great intern for her. And as you'll see in some of our assessment and our feedback, some of those golden nuggets that the employers left with the students, how it really stuck with them. And then one of our final tour visits was to our LinkedIn booth, where talked about the importance of social media in the job and internship process, and the students could also get a LinkedIn photo taken if they wanted. There was a portion of the tour where I kind of had the students in an open area as well, where I just kind of had them just take a look and just reflect. And I asked them, does this remind you of anything? And with many of them being, freshman students not too far out of high school, a lot of them were like, oh yeah, this reminds me of my college fair back in my high school days. So being able to help them draw that comparison, like, well, how did you prepare for your college fair? Oh yeah, I did research on schools. I went to go talk to different, college fair reps. Was saying like, oh, exactly. So you've been through a similar environment that you can kind of draw from, kind of helping them make that parallel there. Then post game. So to kind of conclude, I did like a reflection with the students. So asking them, what did you learn? What kind of some of the things that you took away? Also, we chatted with the students about just making sure that they stayed in touch with our office. After the event, we got some student testimonials from their experience, and then they also concluded by doing a survey for us. Assessment's huge, as you guys all know. So they couldn't leave without doing that assessment survey. Now let's go behind the scenes of the behind the scenes tour and take a look at the profile of the students who were participants in it. We were looking to target freshmen and sophomore students. The majority of the students on our tour were freshmen, which was great for us, for our office. So that meant that we were hitting our target audience there. And the students came from a variety of different backgrounds and majors, which was great. Not just your business students. So we had some from accounting, but we had students from anthropology, chemistry, international relations, communication. So we were really getting a wide variety of academic backgrounds participating. As you can see, there was two seniors that participated. I'm assuming they made it there for free shirts, as I asked them, but they said they just wanted to get some more insight on connecting with employers. And then we asked the students, well, how did you find out about the tour? And the two top things that students mentioned were the website and faculty. So using faculty as kind of our channel to promote was really effective, because then they were telling students about the event, in which they would go to the website to register. And then we also asked students, had they interacted with our office before, and we found that 8 out of the 10 students that participated in the tour had all either visited our office or had some sort of interaction with career services, which was great. So here are some of the student testimonials that we received after we did some follow-up with the students. And this just goes to illustrate our point that the fair was really effective in helping to break down that barrier of nervousness, of anxiety that students can face, and helping establish that level of comfort with the atmosphere of a job fair. But more importantly, it was really effective for the students because the employers left an impression. As one of the students notes, it really prepared them for future jobs. They also included that, they learned how to give an important handshake and the importance of a thank you note. So the impression that our employers left with the students, once again, illustrated to us the effectiveness of this program. All right, next up is Mocktail Networking Night. This event really was derived from conversations that our director was having with a lot of senior upperclassmen students, in which they were indicating that, they just didn't feel comfortable in terms of how to network with a professional, in kind of a unique setting. Most students they're comfortable in a panel setting where they get to sit down and ask questions, but if it's just me and you in a conversation, they're not sure how to approach it. So this was a perfect opportunity for us to address that concern that students were having about interacting with professionals, but also really to help them develop and strengthen their confidence and their networking ability. So the students spoke, we listened, so we partnered up with guests, so our Golden Eagle Senior Council. As Jeff mentioned, they go and plan a lot of the senior year activity events. In addition to that, we partnered with Alumni Relations, and which was a great partnership for us because they allowed us to use their alumni house. So the alumni house on our campus, it's a perfect venue. It allows a lot of space to mingle. It's a nice kind of intimate setting, so something that students maybe will in the future find themselves in that kind of a setting when it comes to a networking event. And it was free, and I didn't mention that too. So that cost us $0. That was perfect. Teaming with guests was really important for us because all of the marketing, as Jeff said, students are the secret weapon. So we can talk to them, about an event, but when they hear it from their peers, light bulbs go off and it really makes a stronger connection. So using the senior council to help us promote the event, recruit students to register for the event. We even had some walk-ins. That was really effective. And then we also partnered with our leadership development program and student union activities. So the overall, I guess, design of the program, once again, was to help seniors in terms of developing their networking skills. So as a part of the event, we reached out to alumni, but also some faculty members to serve as role models of how to work a room. And this would also allow students the opportunity to interact with these alum and faculty members in practicing their networking skills. Because in the alumni house, we set up 3 stations that students would kind of work their way around to. The first station was a 30-second elevator speech, so it was a station for them to practice that. The second station was how to enter a conversation, so working on just introducing yourself. And then the third and final station, did I say third twice or no? I'm just hearing myself. All right, cool. Thank you for confirming that. The third station was the all-important how to exit a conversation, in which we gave them the task of collecting business cards. Now, a lot of this was easier said than done. So going around the room, what we also created for the students, using our marketing department who did a fabulous job, was a do's and don'ts guide of networking. So on the front, there's these do's and the don'ts, but then on the back, there's some strategies and like different sentences that they can use to entering a conversation or leaving a conversation. And so they got that guide. And if any of you would like for us to send it to you, feel free at the end if you want me to get your email or your card, I can definitely send you what we have. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So overall, this was a very effective event. We had 16 participants at the program, and just to give you kind of an idea from some of the feedback, we went through 1/4 of the students that attended, expressing that before the event, and the white bars will show you, feeling not confident in their networking ability, in their networking skills, to then post after the event, 0 feeling not confident, and a majority of the students feeling either confident to very confident in their networking skills. Throughout the course of this event, which was about approximately an hour and a half, students had really been able to practice and develop, confidence in their networking ability, which was great. And then, of course, since this was an event that we kind of had derived from student feedback, it was great to see that the event, for most of them, exceeded their expectations. And then we'll kind of talk about our role or our idea for the future of this type of a program down the road. And then some student testimonials. So we were able to get some feedback from the students, and it was, once again, a confirmation to us that, this event really did a great job in helping them to, break that barrier of that nervousness that they may get of interacting with a professional. But it was really effective in helping them to develop confidence in their networking ability. I have an engaging personality, and I can use that to sell myself. It was just great, some of the feedback that they were getting from those role models that we had. And we had six role models. Some of them were recent alum. Some of them were like, well-known faculty and staff on the college that, like I said, have that kind of ability to work a room, so they were able to kind of draw from.
So, overall, the response from faculty, from students and staff so far has been very, very good. Everyone has really been giving us a lot of feedback in terms of, you guys are really doing a good job. Continue to do this. We're encouraging students to really get out here and go to your programs. So a lot of these things are bringing them back. By popular demand, you see the AT&T commercial, the little girl says, "We want more, we want more." So that's kind of how the students are feeling, so we're happy about that. And some of the enhancements that we're looking to do, again, in talking about the mock career fair, really looking to include our TRD candidates, or people that are going to be going to that event, but also reaching out to sophomores. What we're really trying to do is look at that career development cycle. If we take freshmen, have them go through the career fair, through the tour, it gets them that exposure so that they understand as they're coming in the sophomore year and get ready to go through the internships. They're just really starting to put everything together, really recognize who we are, what our services are. So the more we can expose and get them, the undergraduates into, or I guess the freshmen and sophomore, into that mode, the better off they're going to be, but also, our services will be used there as well. And I'll let Justin talk about enhancements for the tour.
Yeah, so From our overall feedback from the tour, all 100% of the students that participated said they would recommend it to future students. So not only are we going to implement it in next year's job and internship fair, but we're going to include more tours so that hopefully we can accommodate more students that want to get that insight and then take part in it. We are going to be doing niche fairs this year, so we're also going to do one for our upcoming nonprofit fair as well. So having a tour, giving students some background and insight into nonprofits, for example. And then finally, with our mocktail networking event, I mean, the success of it shows the effectiveness of that program shows. So if it's not broke, why try to fix it? So it certainly calls for an encore. So this November during National Career Development Week, we're going to host another mocktail networking event, teaming up with the same partners, so Golden Eagle Senior Council, Alumni Relations, our Student Union Activities, and Leadership Development Program.
And so also in assessing, it's also important just to kind of pay attention to what's going on in pop culture and stuff right now. I mean, students get to go to class, but with all these shows that are out and all the whole flashiness of everything, like dressing up, they want to dress up. They want to look cute. They want to, the guys, not to say the guys necessarily, but the girls, the young ladies, they want to put on the dress, they want to put on the heels and feel like they're going someplace. So if we can somehow try to create those environments and stuff for them, then hopefully that will encourage them to, be active and come out and participate. Just continue to survey your campus to look far and wide, see what campus partnerships there are. We really got an opportunity to get to get out in front of a lot of different audiences this year. Faculty bringing us in, or different academic departments are having programs. We may not have been invited, but we went and supported. And the feedback has just been great in terms of, thank you all for coming by. Now we're getting those emails, hey, can you come into my class this fall? I have, these slots and stuff available. So we're like, yeah, absolutely. If I can't come, somebody else is coming, but we will definitely be there. Again, just trying to promote ourselves across campus. So all these different events, I mean, the mock career fair was one thing, but all the events that we did and everything culminated into, our employers getting feedback from them and just really helping them to give us feedback from their experiences in interacting with students. And 53 of our employers throughout the course of the semester said our interaction was very good to excellence in terms of the student preparation that they felt that students had when interacting and connecting with them. So again, it's some sort of indication that we're on the right track. I mean, of course, there's always room for improvement. I really want to be that excellent number to be high. The good is great, but just trying to strive for a little bit more there. And then just a couple of testimonials from employers. Again, impressed by the way students present themselves with questions and the way they're dressed, and most impressed by the fact they did not immediately start talking about themselves, but ask questions first. So I was pretty happy with that. So again, we had some outcomes that we talked about before. So just to kind of piggyback, or just to put it out there to individuals, how are some of you all engaging, or how are you all finding ways to increase how you engage with students, or how are you currently engaging with students in terms of trying to identify, the scary events, or what? Yeah, I'll just put it out there from that perspective.
I've done similar type things like this to varied levels of success. I've been very successful at my first institution. We have different dynamics on my current campus. But I did do something called the Job and Internship Expo dress rehearsal, so that I did give people a chance to dress up and had the tables and all that. It's just our event center is a gym, so I couldn't give the real. But it went a little bit of ways that they don't know what they don't know, and for some people they'll act on it and find out, and others they'll hold back. But I did a lot of work with student groups, and they let me come into their monthly meetings and give 10-minute pitches or an entire half hour, and a couple of those led to faculty asking me to drop by. So it was using the students to get to the faculty, or going the opposite way. But I also I am career services on my campus, so I do go out to a lot of the classrooms, and I've got a online form for people to request a presentation if anybody wants that, just because sometimes I'd be asked to come in, I wouldn't have a location, a date, or anything.
Right.
So we could get an online form, I'd be happy to share with anybody if they'd like.
Good.
Yes, similarly, two things. We did a fashion show in preparation for our career fair. We actually worked with the business fraternity, Delta Sigma Pi on campus to put it on, so they helped get the word out. And we were really impressed and happy with the attendance rate for it was our first annual fashion show. We had the students actually MC it, and so they implemented kind of like funny humor into it, but at the same time addressed the professional nature of it. And we had faculty and students, we had faculty demonstrate what not to wear and students demonstrate what to wear. So the faculty got a kick out of that and the students got a kick out of that. And after everyone did their walking, we actually we had little interactions happen on the runway where faculty and students would come down and they would say what not to say at a career fair, and it would be obvious. And we had the MC kind of demonstrate why that's not appropriate. So we did something similar to that with getting the students being able to dress up ahead of time. But in terms of engaging students, we actually are kind of moving towards like a more informal networking type of event. We're implementing it in the fall. We're still working on how to solidify it, but similar to what you were saying, we just noticed that the formality of it sometimes can be scary to students. So having more of a meet and greet situation where it's informal and they don't have to necessarily dress up and they can kind of come whenever they're available and speak with an employer. Kind of we've noticed from the few times we've done it that it's been successful. So work with faculty and getting the word out about that too.
Right. Those are some good examples.
Yeah.
We recently put on the Amazing Career Race in April, which kind of mimicked the Amazing Race, where we had students. I am.
Okay. No one's telling us about.
Yeah, we were very excited about the CDO too. But so we had 7 different stations where basically students would have to critique a resume. They had to look over a cover letter. They had to find the 2 different. We have the University Career Advisory Network, which is with alumni, so finding alumni mentors, so having them really get some face time with that. We have UA Career Path, which is our interface for all of our jobs and our OCR and all of that, so they had to go on there. And we brought in employers to do mock interviews with them, so like a really quick mock interview. They had 2 questions and then they got quick feedback from the students. But then afterwards there was a networking event after all of that, so it was kind of, they've already had face time with those employers and then they got the chance to have more interface with the employers after that as well, and just kind of made it a little more fun while kind of touching on all the different aspects of career services that we utilized.
I conduct, it's a one-day trip to New York City with our students. So I take about 20 students down to New York City, and it opens up in the morning with an alumni employer session. So they'll actually be doing job recruitment. They'll be explaining a little bit about their company, doing a presentation. Then the students are allowed to have lunch. Then they come back. Then we go to an actual firm within Manhattan. So they actually do a group tour of the facility. And then we follow that. We go back to Syracuse's Lubin House. And then we have an alumni panel, which will bring in about 10 alumni from different aspects of career fields. So they can kind of go around to different tables, introduce themselves. I prepare the students ahead of time with a very similar document like you had, just kind of questions to keep dialogue open, because one thing I notice is when you put students in this situation, no matter how prepared you have them, sometimes they just clam up. It's like their minds just get a little confused. So having this, they can walk towards the bathroom, they can look at their sheet, they can come back out and kind of regroup. And then I follow that panel with a networking event with other alumni, and it kind of just forces them to hand out business cards, connect on LinkedIn, but just keeping the dialogue going.
Sure.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How did you, as a staff, determine that career fair preparation was something that you wanted to focus on? Because 2 of these was surrounding your career fair. So what was it that founded that decision?
I would say primarily it was timing. Actually, it was kind of the February-March time frame, and as we were preparing, I had just recently talked with a couple of with some employers, also in doing some research as well, and the idea just came up, and I brought it to my boss, and because we're at such an early stage in rebuilding, it was just like, go with it. You know, it's just go with it. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, then, you know, we'll just keep moving until we, you know, find the right thing. But yeah, it was because I think that was the next big event that we had coming up. So it was kind of right there in our faces. So now that, you know, that's done, we're trying to look at other, based on like a lot of feedback that we got from the, or assessments or evaluations from the employers, trying to see kind of what the biggest rooms for improvement are and what can we create around those things. So now we'll probably find we'll have more targeted or more specific focused type of workshops and stuff versus, you know, thinking of something on the fly. So in thinking about cross-campus partnerships, I'm sure all of you, you know, you work with different campus partners currently at the moment, but hopefully how many stakeholders, just think to yourselves, you don't have to answer, but how many campus stakeholders or partners can you think about that, number one, that you can partner with, and think about who you can reach out to within the next 24 hours, just to start some dialogue and see, like if you're not working with them, how you really could see working with them, and just extend greetings and offer to buy them a cup of coffee or something, and just really start that collaboration. What we're finding is, again, our liaison structure that we have really just truly is helping so much in the way that we communicate with different departments on campus. People are really wanting, and a lot of it, I think, from our different backgrounds that we bring. Students are really just wanting to hear from us and talk about different experiences and stuff. So it's gaining some motion, and so we're just trying to ride the wave and hopefully continue to have some momentum, and that our leaders are happy, but also the students feel like they're receiving something also. Because I would say everybody, all of us, all partners, the outcome for these students is a job. Well, not just a job, but a career. And so ultimately the buck stops, you know, with us. So the better we can prepare them, then the better everyone's outcomes and results can be. So thank you all. Hopefully you took something away from this. Any other questions anybody had, or?
Well, I just have a comment.
Sure.
We do something at our school, it's called Don't Cancel Class. And it's a great way for us to get into those classrooms we probably would never get into. And we offer, you know, just professionalism or communications. And those are a lot of the topics that we talk about when we go in. A lot of times the students beat me back to the office to set up and make an appointment. So it's been a really great way to bring students in.
Yeah, our director, she'll send, once the semester starts, sends a letter to faculty and encouraging the same thing, you know,
Yeah.
don't cancel class, you know, let us come in and talk, and it works pretty well.
It does.
Yeah. Cool. Enjoy lunch, everybody.